My parents left me in a hurricane while the whole family evacuated, saying the house needs protecting. 4 years later, they're asking why I won't save them. Growing up, I was the family's oops baby. My brother Ronald was planned, celebrated, and had a baby book full of photos. Me? Mom told anyone who'd listen I was her surprise at 40. Ronald got skiing lessons, SAT tutors, a car for his 16th birthday. I got hand-me-downs and a figure it out yourself. Then in 2012, a hurricane was coming to our town, and our house was right by the shore. My parents were loading the minivan. Mom's cousins were visiting from Ohio, and were apologizing for being in the way. But Mom actually laughed and said, "Don't be silly. We'd never leave family behind." Ronald and his girlfriend Sarah got the middle row, the cousins got the back, and when I showed up with my backpack, Dad looked at me like I was insane. "There's no room," he said, gesturing at the packed van. "Besides, you're in the basement apartment. Just move everything upstairs. The house has been here since 1965. Mom's cousin actually looked uncomfortable, but Mom reassured her that I preferred to stay. I watched them drive away, Ronald giving me a half-hearted wave from the window. The storm surge flooded the basement, then the first floor, then trapped me in the attic with a leg full of glass when a window exploded. After the Coast Guard pulled me out 48 hours later, hypothermic and infected, the hospital called my parents. Dad's first question wasn't about my condition, but whether I'd saved the important documents from his office. When they finally visited 3 weeks later, after Mom's cousins were safely home, Mom walked into my hospital room and said, "You were supposed to protect the house, not destroy it trying to be a hero." The nurse actually gasped. Mom continued, explaining to the nurse that I should have known when to leave, that anyone with common sense would have left when the water reached the second floor, instead of waiting for rescue like this. I took the $3,000 FEMA gave me, basically government disaster money, and learned property restoration. I moved out after a year and started flipping houses damaged by floods. Within 4 years, I owned a construction company and 8 properties. When Ronald mentioned at Christmas that I was doing well, Dad said, "Anyone can make money off other people's tragedies." Mom added that I'd found my level, working with destroyed homes. They had no idea I'd just bought a $3 million beach house in Miami. Everything shifted in 2020 when their house burned down. They'd ignored 5 separate electrician warnings because Dad thought they were scamming him. Mom called me sobbing, but not with apologies. Instead, she said, "Your father and I need to stay at your Miami beach house while we fight these insurance crooks." When I said they couldn't stay with me, she went quiet. "What? Ronald says you have a huge house now." That's when they showed their true colors. Mom started calling all our relatives, telling them I was brain damaged from the hurricane and refusing to help out of spite. She kept saying I was damaged, like my trauma was my fault. Dad emailed my business partners saying I'd abandoned my elderly parents and that my company was built on fraud. When that didn't work, Mom went on Facebook, posting old family photos with captions about how her son would rather see his parents homeless than help them. They did too much when Dad remembered an old joint account from when I was a teenager. He drained $30,000 and told Mom I owed them that anyway for 18 years of housing me. Then Mom filed for emergency assistance using my business address, claiming she was my dependent. When I contested it, she told the social worker I was having a psychotic break from PTSD. That's when I decided they'd used me for the last time. If they wanted to play dirty with paperwork and lies, I had receipts of my own. I didn't have to do much. The $30,000 Dad stole was already flagged by the bank's fraud system. When they investigated, they found everything. The fake emergency assistance forms, the forged signatures, Mom's lies to social workers, even attempts to claim my properties. The federal investigation moved fast. Within 2 weeks, their accounts were frozen. Dad got arrested at the grocery store for tax fraud and theft. Mom called me screaming from the parking lot. "You called the cops on your own father? You selfish monster. We're losing everything because of you." I stayed quiet while she raged. "We raised you. We gave you shelter. Now you're destroying us over one mistake?" But it wasn't one mistake. The investigator found they'd been stealing from Ronald too, taking out credit cards in his name. Ronald found out when the police called him and cut them off completely. The worst part? I found out our house was condemned before the hurricane hit. They knew it would flood.